Why are some Americans so angry about Joe Biden canceling billions of student debt loans? Like right, left, centrist, whatever you are, why would you be mad about this unless you are outright evil person? They take tax money off of you regardless and spend it on stuff you have no idea. I'm not American, so I DK what I am missing. Why would you be angry that your kids, relatives and basically future generations being free from lifelong debt? Is it just I had to do it so they should do too mentality? If so, do they know what inflation is and how economy doesn't stay the same for decades? Edit if you are unsatisfied because you know this fixes nothing and education still will be expensive and they need to fix that rather than just forgiving debts. I would agree, but that seems a lot difficult, TBF. Well, it seems only difficult for America at least. I don't entirely understand how it works. If we forgive loans now, will we forgive loans for the next batch of students, or will they just end up screwed? If you do nothing about the cost of education, then forgiving loans seems pointless because it doesn't stop the cycle of putting students in massive amounts of debt because they already paid theirs off. Freakonomics podcast had an episode about this. Lots of points, but a big one is that it's paid by taxpayers. And college or university graduates typically have much higher incomes throughout their lives. So it's like a tax break for the statistically most likely group of people to not need a tax break. Also, it incentivizes bad debt management by students in the future that might see a chance that future debt would be canceled. Lastly, it pisses people off if they did the right thing and prioritized their student debt payments. It does nothing to stem the cause. I don't care if some loans are forgiven. When I graduated 30 years ago, tuition was $3,000 a year. Now it's closer to $20,000 in state school. But I can understand being upset if you didn't go to school because you couldn't afford it. And now you find out you could have borrowed and had it forgiven. But let's not forget that almost every small business got free loans during the pandemic. So maybe we should all relax a little. I don't support cancellation, but I sure as hell support loans being interest-free, at least the portion that covers tuition. Everything a government spends money on has an opportunity cost, and therefore creates winners and losers. In this case, the losers are the people who didn't benefit from going to college, who are now being asked to subsidize the education of the people who did. You can make an argument that they might indirectly benefit, certainly, but it's hard to visualize when you are struggling to keep your head above water right now. I didn't go to college partially because I didn't want to get a bunch of student loan debt. Now you're telling me after years of working construction, busting my ass out in the heat and freezing cold, etc., that my tax dollars are going to go towards paying other people's student loans off, who are mostly making more money than me to work in an office. No, fuck that, lol. We give millionaires and billionaires much more free money, why not regular people? Only 35% of Americans have college degrees. The 65% are justifiably frustrated their taxes are going to support those folks who on average make more money and live longer, better lives. Well, would you consider it fair to pay off a loan someone else took on in good faith? How come my loans don't get paid off? That's probably the sentiment. It also distorts the market for higher education, and may end up making education more expensive overall. I was born dirt floor poor. Literal white trailer park trash. I joined the military for the GI Bill benefits. I signed a contract and knew the risks. As a result of my wartime service, I'm a disabled veteran. I signed a contract, served and received my GI Bill benefits, and now have 2 degrees. You signed a contract, took the dollar and went to college. Now honor the contract terms and pay the dollar back. It's a pretty simple fucking concept actually. Because I actually read my student loan contract and decided not to put myself through financial slavery when I was 17. I have no sympathy for people who don't even read what they sign. If I was able to make a reasonable financial decision at the age of 17, why couldn't you do the same? You couldn't read? If you couldn't read, why did you even try to go to college? You were too dumb? So, if you are too dumb, you deserve free money? Make it make sense. Forgiving debt just creates more inflation, and we are already drowning in inflation. 1. It doesn't do anything to address the problem. 2. It's anti-progressive. 3. It's annoying hearing about how more money should be allocated to those in need for decades from young progressives, right up until it benefits them, and now they're perfectly fine with giving money to people with a higher earning potential than others. 4. Predatory loans that actually are not. But sure, let's bail out the college educated rather than those stuck in a payday loan cycle. 5. A general sense that people should fulfill the commitments they willingly and legally agreed to. If we're going to help out the working class, let's help out the working class. All of it. Lots of people who took out student loans are doing just fine and they don't really need the help. Lots of people who didn't go to college because they knew they couldn't afford it are struggling. Why should the people who chose to take out student loans get a handout while other people who are struggling have to pay for it? Because the government, which is running huge deficits already, is giving a massive amount of money to a small subset of the population. And that subset, college-educated people, is already one of the wealthier groups of people. I never went to a 4-year college. He's taking money out of my pocket and giving to people that have more privilege. It's a wealth transfer. Because every dollar spent is one that can't be spent on something else better. And there are many programs more deserving. If I have $300 billion taxpayer dollars to spend on people, would I choose to spend it on people who attended college and who will, on average, earn above median salaries? On a program that will disproportionately benefit people who attended professional schools, e.g., medical or law school? No. I'd rather spend it on all sorts of other programs that would help the poor, who don't have a college education to help them earn the same salaries as those who attended college. This is an oversimplification, but despite the very valid argument the system is flawed. These loans were voluntarily taken out and people don't want to pay for other people's debt. They look at it as the same as asking the taxpayers to pay their mortgage or credit card debt. Because it doesn't fix the problem. Higher ed doesn't provide the same value that it used to for its graduates or society as a whole. Blanket debt forgiveness doesn't incentivize colleges to lower prices, which is the real problem. Maybe because some people have had to pay it off legitimately. Now all these other people are just getting it paid off for them. Where do you thinks the money to forgive that debt comes from? Some people believe you should keep your promises. Like when you borrow money and promise to pay it back, you should pay it back. It is a massive amount of government spending that doesn't go to me or my family. I am a 40-year-old plumber. I have a wife and 2 kids. I never went to college. The more loan forgiveness Biden gives, the more my taxes go up. And the more inflation I must pay. Additionally, it encourages students in the future to take riskier and riskier loans at the chance of them being forgiven. Where is my car loan forgiveness? Where is my mortgage loan forgiveness? Why must I pay my bills yet the college student gets preferential treatment?